Over the summer, I've put the Navee ST3 Pro through extensive testing across 150 miles. I've measured its top speed, acceleration, braking distance, and hill climbing ability, and really pushed it in the real world to see how it performs. Now, if you've watched the channel for a while, you'll know that I typically recommend the 9BOT Max G2 as the most comfortable scooter under $1,000, but it's always had one major issue, which is that 36-volt battery. The performance drops off pretty hard as it drains, and when you're at 50% battery, it basically feels like a different, less powerful scooter. The ST3 Pro looks like it solves exactly that issue. You've got dual suspension, a 48-volt battery, along with an even stronger 600-watt motor. So is this the G2 killer we've been waiting for? Let's dive into this data-driven review and see how it delivers in the real world. Just a quick note before we begin, you can support my independent testing by getting your next scooter through my affiliate links. There's a link for the ST3 Pro with a generous coupon in the description. In case you go another route, you can still support me. There's links for basically every scooter down there as well. The ST3 Pro has a 600-watt rear motor that peaks at 1350 watts. This is a bit stronger than most commuter scooters in general. I measured a top speed of 24.8 miles per hour, so it does have an edge over scooters like the new KQi 300X or VMAX VX2 Pro or the G2 for that matter. Now you really feel that 48 volts advantage in the performance retention. I was still hitting 24 miles per hour on really low battery, whereas on a scooter like the 9BOT Max G2, it drops to around 20 miles per hour at that point. Strong performance retention is just a huge plus on longer commutes. You want consistent performance. The acceleration is really impressive too. I measured 0 to 15 miles per hour in just under 4 seconds, which matches the VX2 Pro and 300X. But it's notably faster to 20 miles per hour by almost 1.5 seconds. Overall, the acceleration and throttle input is smooth and responsive too. The scooter just pulls ever so slightly stronger than the others. The ST3 Pro continued to impress on hills. My standard test hill is 250 feet at an 8% grade, and I completed that in 11 seconds flat. That's averaging 15.5 miles per hour uphill, which ties it with the VX2 Pro for the best in class. I also tested it on a super steep 17% grade hill, and the ST3 Pro held an average of 10.5 miles per hour, which is just really strong. So if you've got hills on your commute or you're over 200 pounds, the stronger motor will just make a huge difference. Overall, this is arguably the best motor performance I've tested in a commuter scooter at this price point. The ST3 Pro has just under 600 watt-hours of battery, which is pretty standard for this class. I ran 3 range tests at different speeds to see what you can expect in the real world. Going full speed the entire time, I got 19.2 miles. In my regular test, which is the best comparison for most people, I got 24.9 miles. And lastly, when I really tried to maximize range with slower speeds, I managed 29.7 miles. It's no secret that the VMAX VX2 Pro GT beats everyone in this class, but that scooter has no suspension, so it's not nearly as comfortable to ride. The ST3 is a little bit behind the Max G2 and the 300X, but it's still a very decent range number. And in reality, 25 miles of range is going to be more than enough for most riders. The charging time is 7 hours, which is pretty standard. Now I would like to see Navee add a battery charge limit function in the app at some point. Having the option to limit it to, say, 80% can improve the battery longevity if you don't need the full range. The ride quality is really nice. We've got dual suspension and large self-healing tires. In my opinion, it's the second most comfortable ride in its class. It only loses out slightly to the 9BOT Max G2, but it's more comfortable than the 300X and the VMAX. The dual suspension isn't adjustable, but that's just very rare at this price point, and it feels really well tuned anyways. I'm 175 pounds and I found it to be pretty much perfect. It absorbs harsh bumps without feeling bouncy or bottoming out. There's also a good balance between the front and the rear, so one isn't overtaking the other. I tested it on cobblestones and packed dirt trails and wet road, and the 10-inch tires and suspension work together really nicely to minimize vibrations. The tires feel very grippy on various surfaces, and the scooter has a traction control system, which is quite new and rare in e-scooters, but it helps the scooter feel planted, especially on wet surfaces. It's definitely all-weather approved. I also like that Navee uses self-healing tires. This just improves longevity and keeps maintenance low, and saves you the hassle of sealing them yourself. You've got a really spacious deck with a very large footrest, which is much bigger than what the other scooters offer. This is perfect for shifting your weight when you brake or accelerate. Also, the deck to handlebar height is 41 inches, which makes it perfect for taller riders over 6 feet who would probably start to feel cramped on a lot of other scooters. Overall, the ride quality is a 9 out of 10. The ST3 Pro uses a front drum brake and a rear disc brake with regen braking. I measured an 11.5 foot stopping distance from 15 miles per hour, which is totally safe for this speed. The 300X stops a bit shorter with its dual discs, but it still beats the Max G2 and VX2 Pro. Also keep in mind that discs are more maintenance, so the ST3 Pro is sort of a mid-ground between stopping power and low upkeep. The regen braking is my only real complaint with this scooter. There's a dead zone before it kicks in, and when it does, it feels kinda jumpy. Overall, it's just a lot smoother on the other scooters mentioned. Now you can set it to the low setting in the app, which helps, but this is one area I feel Navee could definitely improve. The controls feel really quality. The thumb throttle is smooth without any lag. It also has the widest handlebars in this comparison, which is really nice for balance and control. The display shows everything you need, though like pretty much every other scooter display, it's hard to read in direct sunlight. Now here's something that no other scooter in this class has: customizable LED lights running along both sides of the deck. This isn't just for looks, it's actually a very nice safety feature. Most scooters completely ignore side visibility, which is a big problem in traffic. These lights just keep you visible from angles that other scooters don't. You can change colors or patterns through the app, but honestly, just having them makes this scooter safer. The main lighting setup is pretty decent too. The headlight is pretty bright and can be angled down, which is optimal. The taillight gets brighter when you brake, and you have also got turn signals, which you can set to either auto cut off or manual control through the app. It would be nice if the taillight reacted to the turn signals somehow though. At 55 pounds, the ST3 Pro is the heaviest scooter in this comparison. Now those extra pounds buy you full suspension and a really robust build, and overall larger dimensions that work better for heavier riders, so I would say it's a fair trade-off. The folding mechanism is smooth and there's a safety pin to prevent accidental unfolding. Also, it doesn't require a lot of force to operate. It's not really a folding mechanism you're gonna fight against. The stem hooks to the rear deck, though you need to line things up first, which adds maybe another second in the process. It's still a pretty decent folding setup though. I'd say that the weight is perfectly fine for short carries or loading into the car, but you'll definitely feel the weight if you're carrying it around for a long time. If minimal weight is your priority, this scooter probably isn't for you. It isn't much heavier than the alternatives, but there is a difference. Over the course of 150 miles, I've pushed this thing as hard as I could. I've ridden on rough roads, in the rain, simulated wear by using the folding mechanism and kickstand hundreds of times, and even applying force to the stem. Everything has held up just fine. No rattles, no flex, no creaking or loose components. Overall, the build feels super heavy duty, and there aren't any obvious weak points or things I'm concerned about. I've also researched the community and haven't found a single mention of the frame failing, so it's definitely a build you can put your faith in. Now the rear fender only has one contact point with the frame, so I thought it would be a bit flimsy, but it's actually super firm. It also gives you easier brake access since it isn't in the way. The kickstand holds firm, though I think it could be maybe a centimeter longer, as the scooter leans a bit too much in my opinion when standing. Also, the scooter has an IPX5 weather resistance rating. I've tested it in the rain multiple times, and it's held up perfectly. Just remember to dry it off after wet rides to prevent corrosion over time, like with any other scooter. The app works, but feels a bit basic compared to what New and Segway offer. You get 3 speed modes, 2 acceleration strengths, and 3 levels of regen braking. You can configure the turn signals, toggle traction control, and customize those LED side lights, which is nice. What I'd really like to see is more advanced features like custom speed limits, battery charge limiting, and maybe even more detailed ride statistics. The hardware is there, they just need to catch up on the software side. The Navee ST3 Pro is probably the most complete commuter scooter I've tested. It simply ticks more boxes than the competitors and has very few weak points. You get strong acceleration, excellent hill climbing, and a high top speed and pretty decent range. All this in a really comfortable ride with good safety features and a reliable build. It's not the absolute best at everything, but it performs to a really high standard across the board, and that's what makes it so versatile for both commuting and adventure riding. So who's this scooter for? Generally, I think most riders would enjoy it, but it's definitely a no-brainer for larger riders and if you have hills or varying road conditions. So if you've been waiting for a Max G2 alternative that doesn't drop in performance as the battery decreases, this is the perfect scooter. The regen could be smoother and the app is quite basic, but these are just minor issues in an otherwise excellent package. As a do-it-all commuter, the ST3 Pro is just really hard to beat. If you're interested in the ST3 Pro, buying through my affiliate link in the description directly supports my work. It allows me to buy new scooters to test in the future. Also, check out my scooter finder tool over on ERideHero.com. You can compare more than 300 models on basically every spec imaginable. You can find the scooter with the most power or the highest battery capacity within your budget. You can also set up alerts to get notified if your favorite models drop in price. It's completely free to use. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.